Now, in the previous video, we talked about the properties of big data. We also talked about what are the things which actually restrict human or companies to analyze big data and to deal with it. Now we also wanted to see that what are different organizations doing with this big data and what are the things which they can do, and then suddenly you will start understanding how come bank knows or that the telecom companies knows more and more about you. So I wanted to show you a couple of estimates over here, and that will give you a complete understanding of what this whole thing all about. So big data in banking, it's been estimated that today the US banks currently have approximately 1 exabyte of the data, and this 1 exabyte of the data is you can simply say that it is equal to almost 275 billion MP3s data, right? It is equal to 275 billions of MP3. If you collect them all together, it's that much of huge data. Now what they want to do with this data, right? So let's zoom in more and more in this picture, and what we want to see is like how they can analyze this data. So first thing first, typical banking sources right, which are generating the data is first thing first, customer bank visits. They want to analyze, they wanted to track it, then call logs, then web interaction, then credit card transactions, social media analytics, what are the transaction type you are doing, what kind of products you have with the bank, what kind of debit card transaction you have, how much is your average quarterly balance, how much is your yearly balance, how much money is getting in. And then there are different banking volumes which they wanted to consider, how much insurances you have, how much loan you have, how many EMIs you have paid correctly, what was the loan amount, what was the interest rate, and what not, how many times the transaction is being failed, how many times you were not able to pay the EMI properly, right? What was your interaction with the customer care, and how much rating you have given in the call itself. There you have got enormous data in banks, and bank are the major, like it's most of the time are the people who've been using this analysis for a very long period of time. Now how would they enhance or put that big data to work, and how exactly they are increasing their business? They are trying to solve certain problems in banking industry, and they are actually doing customer risk assessment, which customer is going to default. Then they are also doing anti-money laundering prediction, and then they're focusing on the transactions which are happening. They're also doing compliance and regulatory reporting. They're also doing customer relationship management with that, and they know that this customer is irate. If the customer is happy with me, probably he'll opt for a new product. If he's not happy for me, then I have to make sure that the customer retains within the bank. And then there are stock trade surveillance and pattern analysis, which can also be used in the banking industry to make sure that they can enhance the customer experience and make sure that the money is being generated. The majority of the time is they can use it for preventing customer churn, which is one of the biggest thing, and setting effective staffing level, so that the result of the organization level will actually keep on growing in a right manner. In 2012, approximately 50% of the customer changed their banks, or they were planning to change the bank, and the solution is that we can apply customer churn prediction over there with the help of big data analytics. And I wanted to see what kind of sentiment people have on social media, and we can identify whether the customer has a risk of leaving the bank or not. I can understand the customer need, and according to that I can design my product in such a way that it results in more satisfying customers, right? Similarly, the staffing cost actually account of 66% of the branch bank's cost, but you can if you have the right staffing model, probably you can reduce this cost as well and save a lot of money. And more saving means that the more profit, basically. So banking are the one which are using this model like anything, almost every time. Then you can also use this for product insight. They can use it for the cost of developing new products, and the services can be staggering. And then what they want to do as a solution is they want to pick up the customer transactional data, such as timing of the visit and duration of the teller transactions, which can be analyzed to find out the gaps in the product offering. There are almost like 800 billion records people have, like the different credit bureaus, and they want to analyze this data and create a credit risk scores. So you might have seen various credit scores, which is in India like CIBIL score is one of the score which has been generated by an organization called TransUnion CIBIL, and they are the one who are like analyzing the customer records and finding out which all customers are credit worthy, and they are just managing this up as a like checking the customer's financial credibility, how much credible a person is, and how much we can like how much money we can lend to that person, so that there's no risk of fraud or default. So these are the various things which banks uses. Similarly in telecom, and approximately in 2013 600 billion global mobile payments were predicted, and they were happening like and you need to notice here that in 2008 we have got the app stores. There are the many organizations, many telecom organizations which are harnessing the power of big data, and they wanted to utilize this total value, and they wanted to identify what kind of transaction are being happening, or what kind of calls is going through, like how much people talk and blah blah stuff. There are n number of things, right? Now how big is this big data? Basically there is in 2012 we created 2.5 quintillion bytes of data every day, which is very very huge, right? And it's been expected to increase by multiple folds by 2020, right? So we are expecting around 20 to 25 quintillion bytes of data every day. Now you must be wondering, like, if we can pick up this data, like how we analyze it basically. So I'm going to show you one picture which will help you understand, like once you pick up the data, what you like, how to deal with it. And this is how we deal with it, right? So enterprise data is over here, which is mostly in RDBMS, and this data is not much in size, and that's why the size of this block is little small, right? And it's very very small as compared to this block. And this data is social media data, this data is emails data, this data is URL data, Facebook data, LinkedIn data, Twitter data, and then the whatnot, right? The n number of data. You wanted to stream and acquire this data, and then you want to organize this data in the proper format, in structured and unstructured format. And once you have organized this data in proper format, you can do analytics on it. Don't worry about analytics right now. We'll peel off the layers of analytics as well in upcoming videos. Now I hope you understood how big this big data is, and for different domains, telecom and banking. In upcoming video we're going to talk about where is this big data coming from, and how this big data is being generated, and how this whole model has been changed, and what will be the future like. I'll see you in the next video. Very very interesting things are coming up. I want you to stay tuned with me.